For years now, I'd go on the internet and read the occasional comment and re-upload a Twitter screenshot of someone saying how the 2016/2017 era of music was superior and how some wish they could go back to that time. 2016, in a way, has become Gen Z's version of the 90s era, so after finishing my Analyzing my Alt's Peak Year mini-series, I thought this would be a great follow-up to travel back in time to 2016 and see why it's viewed as highly as it is. To discuss this year in its entirety, we'll have to go back to before the year even began. In November of 2015, Justin Bieber and Adele released their fourth and third studio albums a week apart. These songs contain what would soon become the most impactful songs in 2016 and in their respective genres. Adele's 25 included hits Hello, Send My Love to Your New Lover, and When We Were Young. Hello was a pop ballad that showed off Adele's emotive and belting singing. The music video for Hello has 3 billion views and 1.3 billion streams on Spotify. Hello went number 1 for 3 weeks in January of 2016. Justin Bieber's Purpose included hits What Do You Mean, Sorry, Love Yourself, Company, and Where Are You Now. This album marked the trend of the majority of albums released in 2016, having half of their B-sides all be hits respectively. Purpose is one of, if not the best album that Justin Bieber has, not just because of the hits, but just because it's a well-made and timeless album. And this is coming from someone who's not even a Justin Bieber stan. The collaborations also added a lot to their respective songs as well, and weren't just there to extend the track list. Sorry went number 1 on the Billboard for 3 consecutive weeks, as well as Love Yourself, which was number 1 for 1 week on the Billboard. Rihanna's Anti. In January 2016, Rihanna released her 8th studio album, Anti, which went on to be one of her best and most impactful albums in pop culture. It's a running joke on will Rihanna ever release another album, but considering Anti is what she left us with, I'm pretty content. Rihanna goes bolder than ever with Anti as she taps into alternative R&B. Just like Purpose by Justin Bieber, Anti is one of those albums where half of the track list is hits in their own right. This album includes hit Work, Needed Me, Love on the Brain, Kiss It Better, and Sex With Me. If we were alive during 2016, there really is no explanation needed. Work, a Jamaican dancehall song, absolutely blew up and was number 1 from the beginning of March to the end of April. Drake's Views. Before the Say-Sos, before the Driver's License, there was Controlla and One Dance. These were the hits off of Drake's Views album. These songs became the songs of the summer, blowing up on Musical.ly and the radio. Both of these songs are always brought up when discussing songs that define the decade, and I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not, but to me, Drake is one of the most least talented artists in the industry. However, I do respect the absolute power and influence Drake has over the music industry. This man is a music industry titan and legend, whether people want to admit it or not, and I respect that. Beyoncé's Lemonade was one of the best well-made albums this year. Since Beyoncé has surpassed legend status, there really is no explanation needed, but I'll still explain. From the music videos to the performances to the songs, every aspect of this album is extremely well crafted and made with true passion and a purpose. Another aspect of this album is Beyoncé's singing. Beyoncé is one of the best emotive singers in the music industry. Anyone and everyone can sing a song, but not everyone can bring a story to life like Beyoncé does. All of these factors come together to tell the story that Lemonade has to tell. Hits from this album include Hold Up, Sorry, and Information. Other albums released during this time were Bruno Mars' 24K Magic, which included hits 24K Magic, Versace and Finesse, and That's What I Like, which success was propelled with the help of Musical.ly. Little Mix released Glory Days the same day that Bruno Mars released his album, which included hits Shout Out to My Ex, Touch, Reggaeton Lento, and Power. Weekend Starboy, which included hits Starboy, Die For You, and I Feel It Coming. Other number 1 Billboard hits were Pillow Talk by Zayn, Panda by Designer, Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake, Cheap Thrills by Sia, Closer by the Chainsmokers and Halsey, and lastly, Black Beatles by Ray Schmurder and Gucci Mane, which spawned the Mannequin Challenge in late 2016, early 2017. And lastly, the Migos released Bad and Bougie featuring Lil Uzi, which went on to become a major hit in 2017 and slingshotted Migos into the mainstream. Not only did just Western artists release some of their best and most successful songs during 2016, many of my top Asian bands also released some of my favorite songs and albums during that time. Jungyeon released She Is, SHINee released One of One, Arashi released Are You Happy, which is one of their most highly produced albums in their entire discography. Other K-pop hit songs include, but aren't limited to, Twice's Cheer Up and TT, BTS's Blood, Sweat, and Tears, 17's Add You Nice, IOI's Very, 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 Blackpink's Whistle, Boobayah, and Playing With Fire. Although 2016 is viewed as highly as it is because the music that was released during that year was extremely good and massively successful, I couldn't have this discussion without including how nostalgia affects our bias. Nostalgia is defined as a wistful or excessively sentimental yearning for return to or of some past period or irrecoverable condition. Merriam-Webster. In Kay Rutledge's article, The Surprising Power of Nostalgia at Work, it states, critically, it tends to follow a redemptive sequence in which negative feelings such as longing and loss give way to positive feelings such as happiness, social connectedness, gratitude, and hope. In other words, nostalgia is bittersweet but more sweet than bitter. Nostalgia can be triggered by explicit reminders of the past, such as running into an old friend or hearing music from one's youth. But people can also become nostalgic when they're feeling down or distressed in some way. Common psychological triggers of nostalgia include feelings of sadness, loneliness, meaninglessness, uncertainty, and boredom. I feel like nowadays, with the declining mental state of this generation, many are turning to their youthful experience to get a feeling of happiness and fulfillment. Since a good chunk of Gen Z were either in late grade school, middle school, or early high school during that time, additionally, in 2016, children didn't have to worry about living through the social and economic aftermath of a pandemic. Most likely, they were lip-syncing to hit songs on Musical.ly and watching YouTube videos as soon as they got home after school. Not only that, music is one of the most powerful ways to induce nostalgia, as supported by an experiment conducted by psychologists at North Dakota State University. First, the experimenters induced nostalgia by playing hit songs from the past for some people and letting them read lyrics to their favorite songs. Afterward, these people were more likely than a control group to say that they felt loved and that life is worth living. Then the researchers tested the effects in the other direction by trying to induce existential angst. They subjected some people to an essay by supposed Oxford philosopher who wrote that life is meaningless because any single person's contributions to the world is paltry, pathetic, and pointless. Readers of the essay became more likely to nostalgize, presumably to ward off said trailing and despair. Moreover, when some people were induced to nostalgia before reading the bleak essay, they were less likely to be convinced by it. The brief stroll down memory lane apparently made life seem worthwhile, at least to the English students in that experiment. The current state of music. The problem with 2020's music that many have expressed is that artists, both Western and Eastern, are making their music not for the passion or longevity, but to fit the TikTok algorithm. Western artists prioritize having a catchy hook, while K-pop artists prioritize memorable choreography. Another thing I dislike about modern music is the awful samples/covers that are just disrespectful to the original iconic song. Like, whatever happened to the Tupacs of the industry? Tupac never had a bad sample. Every time he sampled a song, whether a simple chord, a chorus, or an entire melody, he would always elevate those samples and it would become more iconic than the original. But modern day song samples are just a cheap and quick way to bank on the nostalgia and success of an already iconic song, and it's not used to add to an album or a musical release in any way. List of disrespectful samples/covers include I Don't Wanna Know by Weeknd, 21 Savage, and Metro Boomin, What Type of Games by Young Blue, Enjoy That by Akon, and Big Energy by Lotto. Those are the first that come to mind for me in order of I change the station when it comes on to tolerable. This was a partial follow-up to my Analyzing Lost Peak Years series, but this was also a discussion that was in the depths of my brain for a while. But yeah, 2016 was really that year, and I wonder, will the music industry ever return to the point where artists took years at a time to put together a new album instead of being in such a TikTok chokehold?